Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, welcome to today's morning reading of Ananda Vrindavana Campu. Very happy to have your association. Thank you for joining. So today the chapter is called Purva Raga. We are starting chapter 10, and you might remember that it was already we had already a chapter called Purva Raga. That was the chapter 8. And that was when Krishna was entering Pogandalila, and when Krishna and the gopis were maturing. Their bodies were slightly changing, their minds were slightly changing, and there were beautiful descriptions of how they were looking at each other. So now, two chapters afterwards, Kavikarnapur brings another time the Purva Raga chapter, the title of the Purva Raga chapter. And I was looking a little bit into the database of what Srila Prabhupada spoke about Purva Raga. And he actually do not speak much about it. The first quote I found was in the 10th canto, but was already the purport of the BBT translator. It was not Srila Prabhupada anymore. But I found some quotes in Chaitanya Charitamrita that are from Srila Prabhupada. And in one we will read a little bit after, but one in CC 2363, Madhya Lila, Srila Prabhupada explained that Purva Raga is actually a classification of separation. He writes Vipralamba as 4 division, Vipralamba is separation as 4 division, Purva Raga, Man, Pravas, and Prema Vaichitya. So at that time, the gopis, so this is actually Purva Raga, an attachment prior the meeting. So they might have seen Krishna before, and they might have seen him in public, but they did not have intimate opportunity to relate with Krishna. And we will see also how, for example, when the gopis saw Krishna in the Kaliya pastime, at that time they did not had yet intimate meeting with him, so they could see him, but they could not yet exchange intimately with him. And also in the first Purva Raga that we had, Krishna and the gopis, they had a lot of exchange of glance, but it was always in the midst of other parents or friends, and they never actually got the chance to associate in a private way. And one thing that can be actually very relevant for us is the example that is very, very often quoted, the example of Rukmini, who did not see Krishna even yet, but she had this Purva Raga, she had this attachment to Krishna before meeting him, just by hearing the words of Narada Muni. And we hope that by our attempt to hear about the pastimes of Krishna, that this will develop some prior attachment to the Lord, even if we were not yet able to meet with the Lord. So the pastime of today is amazing because it's very simple pastime, but full of decoration, full of beautiful poetry, intrigues, and it's actually also full of dialogues. A lot of dialogues will happen, and we will see also it will be a lot about Bakul. Bakul. We will have Bakul Mala, and the garland of Bakul flower, and we will have also Bakul Saki, one friend of Radharani, which is actually under the care of Shyama Saki. And I will start immediately by sharing the screen. And we will, yeah. Here we will just start with a quote about Purva Raga, that this one we found also by quoted by Srila Prabhupada in the Nectar of Devotion, that I found very beautiful. Maybe Jennifer, if you like to read it.
Purva Raga. When the lover and the beloved have a distinct feeling of not meeting each other, that stage is called Purva Raga, or preliminary attraction. In Padyavali, Radharani told her companion, "My dear friend, I was just going to the bank of the Yamuna, and all of a sudden, a very nice boy, whose complexion is like a dark blue cloud, became visible in front of my eyes. He glanced over me in a way that I cannot describe. But since this has occurred, I am sorry that I can no longer engage my mind in the duties of my household affairs." This is an instance of preliminary attraction for Krishna.
Thank you. Let's start by offering our obeisances in the dust of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Here we have a beautiful picture of the dust. This is on the parikram path of Giriraj, and please watch very carefully the ground of Vrindavan, the dust. And now feel like you are entering into the picture, and close your eyes. Keep seeing beautiful dust of Vrindavan, and then offer your obeisances. Feel the transcendental touch of Vrindavan dust on your forehead. And because no one is around, please freely roll in the dust. You can hear the sounds of the parrots and peacocks. And smell the delicate fragrance of bakul flowers. Remember your spiritual master and offer him your respects, and pray for the ability today to enter the spiritual dimension of Vrajadam and the pastimes of the Lord. Thank you. So before we go forward, I would like to show you, maybe some of you are not accustomed or don't know the bakul flowers. So here are bakul flowers, and Vajayanti will say a few words about those flowers.
Hare Krishna, yeah, there was this. Well, it's something not so. But yeah, I guess for those who are in India, they know them. This is the bakul flower. It's like small stars. Actually, it's very small flowers. And there are two flowers. It's the bakul flower and the what is the other? Parijata flowers that actually we don't pick them up from the tree because they fall on the ground. And so they are the only, normally when flowers are on the ground, you cannot pick them up and offer to their lordship. but the Bakul and the Parijata we can. And so actually it's very beautiful, the Bakul flower, if it happens that you are in Vrindavan during the season. Normally in the morning, actually early in the morning, you go out and then you see the ground is like the falling stars. It's full of these small stars, and this is the Bakul flower. And it's very beautiful because the fragrance, it's very soft, very delicate. It's not like a strong, but it's very beautiful. In Mayapur also, what I really appreciated, actually in the summertime, they do for Radha Madhava, for the treasure, they do juice of flowers. So practically they soak overnight, you can, and here we don't have, but if you are in India, you can try to soak them overnight in the water. And then you can offer, and the water takes up the delicate fragrance of the flowers. You can offer as a juice to the deities. You can offer put a little sugar, or like this also. Or otherwise, what we do when we are in India, you can soak it overnight, and then you can bathe your deities with this fragrant water. Actually, you can do it with many flowers, like we do also with rose. So yeah, this is the Bakul, and if you see, it's a very soft flower, and the garlands, they look very beautiful. One can add also in between rose petals or different kind of flowers, but it's very, 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 very beautiful flowers. So this is like the stars.
And it's very easy to make garlands with them because they have a hole in the middle. We had a few trees of Bakul flower close to the place we were staying last year in Vrindavan, and in the morning when they are there, because it's not always the season, but we will pick them up and make garlands for our deities. It's very, very beautiful. So today we'll have a lot of Bakul into the story, and we will start now with the tree meditation like we usually do. Actually, where's the picture? Okay, there was a picture for this meditation, but somehow it disappeared. Let's go back. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So this is the beginning scene of the pastime, and we'll see Srimati Harani in the middle, and there is next to her Lalita and Vishaka, and behind are Shama, and her assistant Bakulmala. And Radharani is there. She's doing some separation from Krishna and Bakulmala Saki, and Shyama, they come with Bakul garland to Radharani. So that's how the pastime will start. And maybe Golokavasini, if you like to read 3 times the text, the meditation text. So please take a screenshot of the picture that we will visualize when we will close our eyes after.
Yes, Roji. Thank you. Radhika sat in a secluded place with her dear Sakhis Lalita and Vishakha. The immeasurable weight of her love for Krishna overpowered her. While Radhika remained in a lonely place, Shama Sakhi, who is pure and faultless, and Bakul Mala Sakhi arrived carrying a Bakula garland. Radhika sat in a secluded place with her dear Sakhis Lalita and Vishakha. The immeasurable weight of her love for Krishna overpowered her. While Radhika remained in a lonely place, Shama Sakhi, who is pure and faultless, and Bakul Mala Sakhi arrived carrying a Bakula garland.
Please close your eyes and try to visualize the picture you have seen while we hear the last time meditation.
Radhika sat in a secluded place with her dear Sakhis Lalita, and Vishakha. The immeasurable weight of her love for Krishna overpowered her. While Radhika remained in a lonely place, Shama Sakhi, who is pure and faultless, and Bakul Mala Sakhi arrived carrying a Bakula garland.
Thank you. So the next meditation, we see Krishna and Madhumangal, and also there is a parrot who will have also a very special function into the pastime today. So please watch carefully the picture, how Krishna is lovingly making a Bakul Mala garland. And we will have the third meditation. Maybe Tanu, would you like to read it?
Krishna went for a walk with Madhumangal and entered a forest of Bakula trees. Krishna appeared like an ocean of bliss walking amongst the Bakula trees, which were laden with blossoming flowers. Krishna and his friend Kusumasaba sat down and strung a garland of delicate Bakula flowers. That Bakula garland glowed brightly and emitted an extremely sweet fragrance. Krishna went for a walk with Madhumangal and entered a forest of Bakula trees. Krishna appeared like an ocean of bliss, walking amongst the Bakula trees, which were laden with blossoming flowers. Krishna and his friend Kusumasava sat down and strung a garland of delicate Bakula flowers. That Bakula garland glowed brightly and emitted an extremely sweet fragrance.
Please close your eyes. Remember the picture you have seen while you hear the last time reading.
Krishna went for a walk with Madhumangal and entered a forest of Bakula trees. Krishna appeared like an ocean of bliss, walking amongst the Bakula trees, which were laden with blossoming flowers. Krishna and his friend Kusumasava sat down and strung a garland of delicate Bakula flowers. That Bakula garland glowed brightly and emitted an extremely sweet fragrance.
Beautiful. And the last meditation for today is when Srimati Radharani will receive the garland from Shyam Sakhi, this garland that Krishna was stringing, and we will hear of the effect on Radharani's heart. Please drink the picture with your eyes and print it in your mind, in your consciousness, as we will hear the last reading. Kanupriya Mataji, would you like to read the last inspiration? I think she disappeared. The Chanti, please, and do it. Oops, what did I do?
Shamasaki adorned Radha's neck with the bakul garland. Radhika felt the thrilling touch of her beloved by contacting the garland made by Shamasundara's hands. Radha's body surged with ecstatic symptoms. Feeling the rising love, Radhika's eyes moistened with tears as she looked slightly downward out of shyness. A mild nectarian smile bathed her gentle lips, which defeated the tenderness of fresh sprouts. Overwhelmed by insurmountable ecstasy, Radharani embraced Bakulasaki and fell unconscious. Shamasaki adorned Radha's neck with the Bakula garland. Radhika felt the thrilling touch of her beloved by contacting the garland made by Shamasundara's hands. Radha's body surged with ecstatic symptoms. Feeling the rising of love, Radhika's eyes moistened with tears as she looked slightly downward out of shyness. A mild, nectarian smile bathed her gentle lips, which defeated the tenderness of fresh sprouts. Overwhelmed by unsurmountable ecstasy, Radharani embraced Bakulasaki and fell unconscious.
Please close your eyes, try to remember the picture you have seen and hear carefully the last I'm reading.
Shamasaki adorned Radha's neck with the Bakula garland. Radhika felt the thrilling touch of her beloved by contacting the garland made by Shamasundara's hands. Radha's body surged with ecstatic symptoms. Feeling the rising love, Radhika's eyes moistened with tears as she looked slightly downward out of shyness. A mild nectarian smile bathed her gentle lips, which defeated the tenderness of fresh sprouts. Overwhelmed by insurmountable ecstasy, Radharani embraced Bakulasaki and fell unconscious.
Ready? The reading? But in Jennifer, would you like to start the reading today?
Chapter 10. The Purva Raga of the Gopis. The minds of the young gopis of Vrindavan, transformed due to their rising desire to enjoy intimately with Krishna. Many impediments prevented their meeting, but the chariots of the gopis' minds always carried them to thoughts of Krishna. Because of their strong attraction for Krishna, they could hardly think or act correctly. Cupid had seized control of their hearts and confused their minds. They tried their best to hide their feelings by discussing amongst themselves about their attempts to relieve the anxiety caused by the pangs of love. One gopi named Chandravali, anxious and overcome by intense love, spoke to her confident Padma, whose elegance defeats the beauty of lotus. O Golden One, listen, my dear Saki. My heart is totally attached to Shyamasundar. My superiors are heavily criticizing me for this, and my sister-in-law is poisoning others by speaking ill of me, but I cannot give up my attraction to him. Padma replied, O lotus-eyed one, you should know that the fresh love of the daughter of Rishabhanu surpasses all of us, but she has not yet met alone with Krishna. Before she meets Krishna, you should fulfill your heart's desire by associating with him first. Once Shyamasundar enjoys with you, he will forget all about her. Come now, and I will make all arrangements for your love rendezvous. When Radha and Shyam met that night beside the lake, everyone understood the super excellent position of their confidential love. But my dear friend, you should know that Krishna's love has no beginning and no end. Thus Padma, who is expert in fulfilling the cherished desires of Chandravali, encouraged her and made the necessary arrangements for her to meet Shyamasundar. Meanwhile, Radhika sat in a secluded place with her dear Sakhis Lalita and Vishaka. The immeasurable weight of her love for Krishna overpowered her. While Radhika remained in a lonely place, Shyamasakhi, who was pure and faultless, and Vakula Mala Sakhi arrived carrying a Vakula garland. Shyamasakhi said, O darling of Rishabhanu, you are the tilak on the head of all the Raj gopis, and the crest jewel of all beautiful girls. Who is more fortunate than you? Verily, among all living entities, you are personification of love. You attract even the heart of Krishna, who is an ocean of wealth and good fortune. That night on the banks of the Yamuna, after the Kaliya pastime, I became convinced that Krishna was madly in love with you.
Thank you. Shri Hari Govinda Prabhu, would you like to continue the reading?
Yes, Prabhu. Shyamasakhi continued, Krishna fills everyone and fills the gopis with rasa. His enticing form acts like an elephant goad pulling the hearts of the gopis, hankering to taste his love. Like a chakora bird relishing the rays of the moon, he drank the nectar dripping from your moon-like face with his sidelong glances. As far as I'm concerned, you are certainly the only object of his love. Seeing your mutual love, my distress is now gone, and my heart is inundated with waves of bliss. Radhika replied, O bold one, why are you exaggerating so much? Hey Sakhi, where is that housewife in Gokula who has not accepted Kaliya Daman, Krishna, as her only object of love? Kumuda flowers open without the moon, but lilies need the moon's tender touch to blossom into sweetness. Therefore, you should know that Sham Sundar is the only sweetheart for all the gorgeous girls in Vrindavan. He does not belong to any Sakhi. Shama Sakhi said, Do not doubt my words and thereby inflict pain upon yourself. Be satisfied with your unique good fortune and be convinced that Sham Sundar belongs only to you. Lalita said. Shame, are you speaking just to console Radha, or do you really mean what you say? Sham Sakhi replied, Oh Lalita, why don't you ask my friend Bakula Mala? Lalita said, Oh my dear Sakhi, Bakula Mala, tell me the truth. Do not say something just to please me. Bakula Mala said, Hey Radhe, Radhe, this Bakula Mala flower garland herself will dispel your doubts. Just hearing my words will give pleasure to your ears. This morning, that handsome boy passed by me on his way to tend the cows on Govardhan Hill, the source of happiness. For some time, Krishna played joyfully with his intimate companions. Bakula Mala continues. Then he went for a walk with Madhumangal and entered a forest of Bakula trees. Krishna appeared like an ocean of bliss, walking amongst the Bakula trees, which were laden with blossoming flowers. Krishna and his friend Kusumasava sat down and strung a garland of delicate bakul flowers. That bakula garland glowed brightly and emitted an extremely sweet fragrance. Feeling very shy and afraid that someone might see me, I hid behind some forest creepers and watched him for a long time. At that time, I heard Kusumasava, who was holding the pet parrot of Radhika on his hand, describing to Krishna about how Radha looks at him with loving eyes. He told Krishna that when he goes out behind the cows, Radhika stands in the watchtower of her palace and gazes upon him with great longing. During his birthday festival, Radhika spent the whole time simply looking at him. Radhika stared at Krishna with totally fixed attention the day he subdued Kalia.
Thank you. Mataji Tanu, if you like to continue.
Yes, Prabhuji. Bakula Mala said, Hey Radhe, listen to the other sweet words that Kusuma Sava spoke. Although his speaking seemed irrelevant, he said, Oh, my dear friend, that garland that you made is very special and you should use it to win the heart of Radhika. May it swing around her neck and enhance her beauty. Krishna smiled while replying, How will this ever happen? Your statements are as illusory as the will o' the wisp. Kusumasava reacted to cover up his statements. At first, he did not respond but just stood there silently like a picture. Just then, Padmasakhi arrived there like an untimely storm and stood next to Krishna. Carrying the passenger of intense anxiety, the chariot of my mind ran away. But since I was only a short distance away, I overheard everything that Kusuma Sava said to Padma. He said, Are Sakhi, what are you doing here? You appear like the crest jewel of cunning persons. What brought you to this lonely forest grove? Abandoning all shyness, you stand fearlessly in front of my friend Sham Sundar, who always tastes varieties of rasas. Then, full of pretension, Padma put a proposal before Krishna, saying, Listen, beautiful one, my name is Padma, and I am an intimate friend of Chandravali Sakhi. She sent me here to pick up flowers for the worship of Mother Gauri, wife of Lord Shiva, and the pure one. The particular flowers required for her puja is available only in this grove of yours. Hence, I have come here in order to pick these Bakula flowers. Kusuma Sava replied, "It is well known that Gauri Chandravali is attached to worshipping Gauri Devi, Durga, who is pleased by faith and love. Why didn't Chandravali come herself to pick flowers for her puja?" Padma said, "O bold one, Chandravali got bitten the first time she saw that poisonous black snake named Krishna standing by the bank of Yamuna. The poison of his love now burns her tender heart." Kusuma Sava said, "The only remedy to counteract that poison is to stop thinking about that snake."
Thank you. Golokavasini Mataji, if you like to continue.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Padma said, "I am searching for the means to distract her mind." Kusuma Sava said, "It is very difficult to find such a means. Due to its weak nature, a mind fearful of a snake can never give up its fear. Similarly, when one's mind becomes completely attached to Krishna, it cannot go anywhere else." Padma replied, "Nothing is impossible for one who is full of anxiety. Where there is mind, there must be anxiety. When one loses his mind, however, naturally he gives up all his anxiety. When that anxiety disappears, then it can no longer dominate him. Becoming enchanted by a beautiful object can also steal away the mind. Indeed, that anxiety is amazing." Kusumasava said, "Go and look for that one who steals the mind, Manohar, Krishna." Padma said, "At present, your Bakula Mala is that Manohar, but that Bakul Mala should decorate the neck of Gauri, named for Durga or Chandravali." Shamasundar said, "Hey, my friend Varsha, this Sakhi seems to be very clever. She wants to decorate the neck of Gauri with my Bakulamala, but she is not allowing me to finish the garland." Kusumasava said, "O bold one, your Bakula garland is meant for our dear friends. Who else could be qualified to receive it? Therefore, Sakhi, why not just pick up the Bakula flowers lying on the ground and take those with you?" Padma replied, "How can I even dare to do that? Why are you not depriving me in this way? Why are you depriving me in this way? If the Prince of Vrindavan is inclined, he will personally give us some flowers." Krishna said to Kusum Sava, "What she said is perfectly correct. So, you should give her some flowers in order to satisfy her Sakhi and to perform the worship of Gauri." Then Padma, feeling overwhelmed in joy, took some Bakula flowers and left. Bakulamala continued to narrate Krishna's pastimes to Radhika. "Hey Radhe, I overheard Kusum Sava say, 'O my friend Krishna, if among the young Sakhis like Padma and others, a Sakhi of Radha's party comes here, she could mitigate the pain in your heart. Then your Bakul Mala will have meaning."
Thank you. Jyoti?
Check me. After hearing this, I moved closer to them on the pretext of collecting some fallen flowers. Yet I acted in such a way that they could not imagine that I was listening to them. Seeing me, Kusumasava said, "Hey Saki, who are you?" And immediately after saying this, the parrot perched on his hand said, "Aho, look, here is Bakula Mala, the associate of Shamasaki, who is a friend of Radhika. She's picking up Bakula flowers to make a garland." Kusumasava said, "What need is there of a garland? When the shameless young girls of Gokula can create bakul flowers and agitate everyone just by their sidelong glances. The parrot said, "Now that you have these garlands of bakul flowers, you should give it to Shamasaki's maidservant, who in turn will give it to my deserving mistress Radhika." And Kusumasava said, "Shamasundara, just see, my words are coming true." And the parrots replied, "A Brahmana words are infallible. You should give this bakul garland to Bakul Saki, and she will give it to Radhika." Then Krishna, the destroyer of demons, smiled gently and spoke, just according to the time and circumstance. The young girls of Vrindavan are naturally proud. Why should they come here on the orders of Batu, who is simply a Brahmana, and make everyone laugh by his joke and silly behavior? Therefore, O best among the birds, in order to comfort your mistress, why don't you go to Bakul Saki? Hearing your pure, soft, and sweet request, Bakula Saki will accept my Bakula garland. Bakula Mala continued. Immediately, that best of the birds flew to me and said, "Oh, Bakul Mala, do you recognize me? Why are you picking Bakul flowers? Why not come and see the Prince of Vrindavana? I will give you the garland that Shamasundara has made himself, so you need not to labor so hard picking flowers." I replied to that parrot, "O best parrots, the scriptures are right when they say that one's good and bad qualities depend on his association. It appears that associating with a person who is malicious by nature, dresses in yellow garments, and intoxicated from drinking Madira Ras, the wine of divine love, has bewildered your intelligence. Tell me, do you think that any chess girl will accept a garland from someone who is not her husband?" And the parrot said, "Hey, listen, he is the supreme person, not just an ordinary person. His lotus feet are very difficult to attain." Inner meaning of parrot statement. So, why don't you try to meet Krishna? And I replied, "Hare, wait a minute. I can see that he's just a man. Why are you calling him the supreme person? Do not try to attract me to Krishna by your word jugglery."
Oops. Shri Hari Govinda, do you like to continue?
Yes, Prabhu. Bakula Mala continued speaking to Radhika. The parrot told me that if I understood his words, I should take the garland. Since the parrot defeated me, I could not take the dominant role, so I returned to Krishna, who wears Makara Kundala. Then the mild and sweet Brahmana named Kusumasava talked to his dear friend, the parrot. Kusumasava said, "This Sakhi named Bakula Mala should take this Bakula garland to the mistress of the parrot. Even Lakshmi Devi, who has sweet smelling hands, can rarely obtain such a garland. This Bakula garland should be taken to Radhika, the eternal lover of Krishna. By doing this, Bakula Sakhi will attain success in accomplishing her task. This Bakula Sakhi, who is the personification of Krishna's sweet love, is expert in this work." At that moment, Damodar slightly trembled as he raised his soft lotus palm, moistened with perspiration. While looking in the opposite direction, a sweet nectarian smile appeared on his face. Then he gently touched my hand as he gave me the garland. I returned to my mistress, Shamasakhi, and presented this garland, which embodies the fragrance of Krishna's pure love for you. I told her all the details of my meeting with Krishna and how this garland conveyed his heartfelt desire to meet you. And now my mistress has brought that garland to you. Then Shamsakhi adorned Radha's neck with the Bakula garland. Radhika, feeling the touch of her beloved by contacting the garland made by Shamasundara's hands. As a result, Radha's body surged with ecstatic symptoms, and her cheeks swelled with delight. Feeling the rising of love, Radhika's eyes moistened with tears as he looked slightly downward out of shyness. A mild nectarian smile bathed her gentle lips, which defeated the tenderness of fresh sprouts. Overwhelmed by insurmountable ecstasy, Radharani embraced Bakula Sakhi and fell unconscious. Lalita Sakhi said, Hey Shame, it is not only in name, but also in fame and quality that your Sakhi Bakul Mala and this Bakul garland are the same. Can't you see that both these Bakul Malas are fragrant and freshly youthful? They both enjoyed the touch of Krishna's lotus hands and got to decorate the neck of our Swamini Radhika. Shamasaki replied, You have spoken very sweetly.
Beautiful, thank you. Please close your eyes for the final meditation. And see Chandravali and Padma. And see Chandravali and Padma discussing together. Despite her relatives speaking ill about her, Chandravali cannot give up her attachment to Krishna. Padma is very expert in pleasing Chandravali and proposes that she meets Krishna before Radharani will meet him. Somewhere else in Braj, see Srimati Radharani surrounded by Lalita and Vishaka. See Shyamsaki and Bakul Mala coming to meet Radha with good news and a flower garland. Here Shyamsaki praising the exclusive love of Krishna for Radha. Radharani lowered her head out of shyness. Lalita asked Shyamsaki, Are you speaking the truth? Then Bakulmala comes forward and confirms what she heard in the forest. She described how she saw Krishna stringing a Bakulmala and how Madhumangal was sitting next to him with Radharani's pet parrot. Here Madhumangal telling Krishna how much Radharani is attracted to him. Padma arrives and tries to get Krishna's Bakulmala for Chandravali. But Madhumangal is very nicely destroying all her intrigues. When Bakul Saki comes, Radharani's parrot And Madhumangal want to offer Krishna's Bakul garland to Radharani. Bakul Mala answered, why would a chaste wife accept the garland of someone who is not her husband? Bakul Saki is defeated by hearing that Krishna is not an ordinary man. She takes the garland in Krishna's hand and bring it to Shyama, who will putting the garland around Radharani's neck. Remember how Radharani reacted receiving his garland around her neck? Surge of ecstatic love, tears flowing from her eyes, and see Radharani embracing Shyamasaki and falling on the ground unconscious. Thank you everyone for joining. It was a very, in one sense, very simple pastime, but so beautifully described, and so many intrigues into it, and poetry, and so I had some small reflection about it. One, there was actually something very beautiful about how the mind can be attracted to Krishna. And Chandravali was saying, yeah, despite my elder criticism, I cannot give up my attraction to Krishna. And then also, when Padma was speaking to Madhumangal, she was saying that Madhumangal was speaking to Krishna, is still connected to this, how the mind can become attracted. She was saying, no, Madhumangal was saying, a mind fearful of snake can never give up its fear. Similarly, one's mind becomes completely attracted to Krishna, it cannot go anywhere else. And we know when something is strongly in our mind, it's just becomes so much part of our reality. And so if Krishna, or our attachment or attraction to Krishna is growing and taking the rulership of our mind, then it's not anymore possible to think of anything else. There was at the end, Padma was also speaking about the mind and anxieties, and she was saying that where there is mind, there must be anxiety. And when one loses mind, then he gives up all his anxieties. And when that anxiety disappears, then the person is not anymore dominated by the anxiety. And then she said that becoming enchanted by a beautiful object can steal the mind away. Indeed, that anxiety is amazing. So that shows very much that when we become attracted by the pastimes of the Lord, by the name of the Lord, by his beauty, his form, then definitely all anxieties, then we lose our mind. The mind that is usually full of anxiety got stolen by the beauty of Krishna consciousness. So that was from my side. I don't know if you had also some reflections, some thoughts. English. It's okay. I get a good sun bath right now. So yeah, if you have anything you would like to share from today's session, yes, Mataji Tanu.
Prabhuji, I want to add about what you said about the anxiety, that our mind can think about only one thing at a time. So either we can think about Krishna or we can think about worldly matters. So whenever we are thinking about Krishna, we are always free from anxiety and we feel joyful, we feel satisfied. So yes, this is the very nature of mind, that we can only at a time we can concentrate on only one thing. Even when I try to do multitasking, then also I just become little anxious, because mind can concentrate at one thing at a time. So yes, this was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I heard it also from his lecture of Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, exactly the same point, that the mind can be thinking of one thing at a time, but often we think very quick, this, but still we think of one thing at a time. And when we have this multitasking and doing many things, it's actually increasing a lot the Rajagun in our consciousness. Yeah, thank you. Beautiful comment. Mataji Goloka Vasini, do you have anything to share from today's reading? Anything you take with you?
Honestly, Prabhuji, today I don't have much realizations, but only one thing I was like feeling like Radharani's love for Krishna is the topmost, and this is what little bit realization came. Though I have heard many times, but the realization, yes, Krishna loves Radharani most, and Radharani is the only object of his love. So that was the only thing which touched my heart.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. And that was also, I found, very beautiful when Bakulmala and Shyama come and they speak with Radharani and they tell how much Krishna love Radharani. And Radharani put her eyes down and she say, "Oh, there are so many sakis. Krishna, like she's not like, say, yes, Samdo." She's like very humble, very shy, and then they want to, how you say, convince Radharani. No, you should accept. Don't give pain on yourself. You should accept that Krishna loves you most. Thank you, Mataji. Back in Jennifer, do you have any reflections, any thought from today's reading?
Hare Krishna. Thank you. No, I was just reflecting how different is the spiritual reality from material consciousness or material so-called reality. Yeah, and yeah, it's so beautiful, like the descriptions of the whole scene and this forest, and it's really it's just completely different from I don't know, my daily life. And yeah, I was just wondering, maybe you can share something more, like how can this attraction become more to the spiritual reality? Because I feel like my mind is like naturally attracted to think of material things, and it's not really naturally attracted to think of the spiritual reality. So yeah, maybe you can share more. How can this attraction become more natural?
Well, I think also what we are doing now by reading more about Krishna, this is naturally, as because as you say, they are. I also found they're just so mind blowing, no, to hear all these pastimes this time, but also all the other times. So as more we hear, in the Bhagavatam is also said, that's why it's Krishna Katha. That's one of the most important things, together with the chanting of the holy name. And simply by hearing that, our heart also become purified. And then gradually we also, this love is uncovered in our heart. But definitely it's nice, it's good also, like when we hear, also to make it a practice, to try actually to remember it. So, or also, yeah, like there might be some, I don't know, now a part on this particular pastime, or to take some, like sometimes we are also doing like taking a verse that sometimes you like, so try to remember. And then, yeah, otherwise the mind, it has to concentrate on something, so we can give to the mind something to think of Krishna. So in that way, it takes also, I think Smaranam is also a practice. So it's so that, I don't know, what would you say?
Yeah. It's when we actually remember, and that's also what we try to do in those sessions. Therefore, we read 3 times the same verse, so that it goes like every time a little bit deeper, and as deep the topic of Krishna consciousness go in the heart, as present it remains. I always experience every Saturday after the reading session, for the next hour that follows, my mind is just like flooded with Krishna consciousness images and thoughts. And I heard once my spiritual master was saying to one devotee, try to take as much, read as much as you can. Take it as much as you can. What we do this morning, okay, it takes 1 hour, and it's beautiful, but sometimes one can just read one verse and just take the time to close the eyes after this verse, and just take it in deep inside, and then it's there, and then it comes again. So it's really how you say, a cultivation that we need to do to become Krishna conscious.
Maybe we can share also after we were sharing with them the verse, because also, yeah, I got to one verse in the Bhagavatam, and also there it's very nice. Prabhupada there is speaking. It's more like that Krishna sees us and we cannot see him, but he's everywhere. He's like he's in the heart of everyone, but he's even in every atom. And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says actually that we cannot see him, but he say by a little deliberation, something like that, or contemplation. And then after he say it takes training. So, and then he say by reading the scriptures, hearing from the spiritual master. So it's really also to take the time. And then we can actually, I mean, now here we listen the Pasama, but also we can also train, like Prabhupada say, ourselves to see Krishna. Like he says, you drink water. It's very simple. You think, okay, Krishna is the taste of water. We see the sun. Yesterday I was reading also about the sun. Yeah, that actually Krishna is like the sun, and is illuminating everyone and also our heart. But nothing can obscure the sun. So by reading, because the scripture is full also of this detail, and then with training, and then actually as we look the word, we some or other make the connection with Krishna. So this also is something that is like how to start, no, the gradual, and by with this practice and training, and then by mercy, when the heart will be because to have this attraction, it means that our heart is like, there is no more rust, no? It's like if you have magnets, when there is rust, they cannot come together. So that's our mind is full of rust. And so, but by this practice of practicing to see the Lord everywhere and also to remember, then this will go away. And then naturally, but that is pure devotion when we are completely attracted. So there is a process to come to that.
I heard once in a lecture of Radha Govinda Swami where he was saying, why is it so difficult for the living entity to be Krishna conscious? And he was saying, because we are putting so many other things than Krishna in our mind. So all what we put in our mind is actually turning, it's actually becoming part of our reality. So if we bring as much as we can of verses, of images, of prayers in our consciousness, then naturally we become actually more Krishna conscious. And I think too, sometimes I try like 3 times a day to just sit down to take 5-10 minutes and read a verse and try to think of the verse and try to bring it down. And I see it makes huge impact.
But yeah, it's a practice like we do chanting. So we need also to practice and train, like Prabhupada say, training ourselves to think of the Lord.
Mhm.
So and it's natural that now we don't think much because we are conditioned soul, but by showing our endeavor, then the Lord will give the mercy and gradually. But we need to do it. It will not just happen automatically. We need to, to
Thank you. Beautiful. Shri Hari Govinda Prabhu, do you have a final concluding word for today?
Yeah, I was also having a few thoughts. I mean, it was so beautiful, and I think one would have to read this many times to actually begin to comprehend everything that is happening. But a few things I found very interesting, that here Madhumangala is always called Kusumasava, which also represents the flowers actually, which is continuously one of the main aspects of this pastime. I think I was actually Googling what Kusumasava means, and it was saying the spirit of flowers somehow. So that
Beautiful.
was interesting, and the attitude of Madhumangal to Padma, to the gopis of Chandravali side, versus the attitude towards Bakula Mala Sakhi. That when she came, she was like, he was like, okay, please take this garland. And when she came, she was like, why don't you just, pick the flowers, which is lying on the floor. And of course, I can imagine in Sanskrit, the wordplay must have been so interesting, because we kept reading Bakula garland, but in Sanskrit it must have meant Bakula mala, and the Sakhi's Bakula mala. So he must have been playing on those words in Sanskrit the entire time. And also, during the entire pastime, like in the beginning, Krishna chastises Madhumangal and asks, "How can I ever offer this Bakula garland to Srimati Radha?" And throughout the entire pastime, Kavi Karnapura mentions him as Krishna, but just before handing over the garland to Bakula Mala, he calls him Damodar. And I was saying that in that moment he has been conquered, and he's perspiring, and he's trembling a little bit, because he's noticing, okay, now this is actually going to become a reality. So really beautiful
Yes.
details there. And I hope, just like uh, in the beginning, that also the chariot of my mind carries me to the thoughts of Krishna.
I like, actually, it's very, like you were saying about the details, I also noticed something, because we are reading like also in progression. So for me, it was also interesting to see how Kavi Karnapur is like you say, director of a drama, no? And stage manager, and it's like, so like you were saying, so it's, for me, it was nice that he was mentioning also about Kalia. That was the first time actually that all the gopis, they never saw him personally before, because they were in the house playing and like this. But now the first time they see him, I also appreciate that the parrots, the presence of the parrots, because I remember when, and I don't know who was say that, or maybe it was Madhumanga that was say that, you remember during her birthday, Radharani was always only looking at you. And we heard about the birthday celebration of Krishna. And we heard that at the end, actually, Krishna's parrots went to Radharani's feet, if I remember well, right? And now it's Radharani's parrots that is there with Krishna. So I was wondering also that connection, even if the parrots themselves, they some rather. And so I found also that very interesting to see, how our Kavi Karnapur is orchestrating with putting all those details together that, yeah, so I find very nice also that we go through the whole sequence.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And thank you also very much, Hari Govinda. It's very thoughtful and very beautiful comments that you brought. It's very nice to see through the eyes of devotion of other devotees. It's very enriching. So thank you for all bringing your heart into and giving your heart, giving your mind to Krishna consciousness, to Krishna Katha. And Krishna willing, we keep going next Saturday and we'll try to keep as much as possible in our hearts. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.